So you're with Mark and Diane, Real Estate News and Views, and we're going to go through the offer process, Mark, kind of step by step and how negotiations and what a buying and a selling agent kind of do.
Yeah, we'll try to make it to real life scenarios and kind of talk about, I want to kind of talk about how I would conduct an offer or have a conversation with the listing agent based on, say, a property that's been in the market, I don't know, 120 days, whatever. And then I would have another side of that where how would I, we'll say, conduct myself with a property that is priced for the market, meaning today's market, not 2022 and beyond, whatever. So I
Right,
think
but it's actually
yeah.
a yes, but I think part of it too is when we're actually going to put in an offer. Like some of the scenarios you're talking about, you wouldn't even have put one in.
Oh, many times. I don't,
Right.
because I'm on, to me, my time is very, very important. I'm not wasting it on on a negotiation process that isn't going anywhere. That's what I do. I'm not saying everybody do that, but that's what I do. If I feel that I don't have the warm and fuzzies, and I've done this before, okay, you've been on the market and there's one in Barrie on Wildwood Estates back in February. The agent goes, well, they've been on the market probably, I don't know, 4 months, I'm guessing. Well, it's been sold now, but whatever. Um, where's it going? Because the valuation's off. Like you've tried many times. Kitchen was a detriment, very dated. Just you had good area. Anyway, well, I think I think you should try. No, I'm not trying. Thanks. And we didn't go on because I knew the negotiation process wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
If I have a call on the other side of that, Diane, here's how I'm into this now. So if you were the listing agent, sorry, you're the buying agent that calling me on the same property and go, hey, Mark, my clients like the property, but we've noticed it's been on the market for 4 months now. Kitchen's a problem, very dated. What can you tell me about it? And I'd probably say, well, Diane, you know what? Yep, I have a seller set on a price, or I've tried my hardest to show them the comparables and make them understand, but they're not listening. Okay,
Okay,
well,
so Mark,
anyway,
you be the selling agent right now then, or you be the selling agent right now, and you're listed at 1.3, and I call you and I say, hey, Mark, I know you've been listed for, you know, 3 months. Does your client have any movement on that price, or like, are they stuck to it?
don't well, you know the answer. There's no movement because we'd have it listed. We would have it sold by now. So there's really the real question isn't have we had any movement? What my question would be if that was you, is your client up for negotiations? Because I
Okay,
feel
so my client is up for negotiations. This is what I'm getting at, so work with me. But they have a limit, and their limit is not 1.3. Like we're way below that. Are you guys willing to negotiate with that? Or does your client, basically want close to list?
I would be I don't know how I would be answering that other than, I'd probably say, Dan, my clients are very unrealistic. They're set at a certain price. And if your clients are capped at a certain number, I wouldn't get into the number game because I don't like that. Because I don't like the calls that I get sometimes from agents going, oh, well, hey, Mark, what number are they expecting? So I just kind of
No,
blow
I
that.
get mad at that, but I don't like that either. But
I get
my
clear.
thing is if my limit's 1.1
Then
and
you
you're
tell me that's 1.1. You say,
and
Mark,
you're
my
well,
call,
because I'm not giving away my number yet.
well, okay. I would ask you though. I would ask you in a sense, where's it going? If I'm telling you my client's kind of, a seller that's back in 22 year and he's unrealistic, there's the answer.
Right.
I
So
would
if
I
I
wouldn't go
know,
back and forth on this number stuff. I wouldn't even go
but
there.
if I know as an agent that my client's limit's 1.1 and you tell me they're pretty stuck on their price, there's kind of
You move
not
on.
even, there's no use in going forward.
There's no use in going forward. And there's a lot of listings on the market that have continually been at those higher inflated prices. And we've tried. My client sent me a text today, 3 days, 4 days ago, Mark, we're taking a break. Now we're coming back. We can't find anything in our price range where we want to go high 1.2, but everything's all over the map there, and we just can't get a deal done basically. So we're going to drop our expectations, and we're going to wait for that bigger price point property in a few years. We want to go high eights to mid nines. I'll find you something in that range. Probably a better range to negotiate with than these higher ranges. So I just think the buyers are just stuck. But anyway, what would be your next question to stuff before we make this really confusing for the viewers? Because I'm trying not to do it, but I just think there's two types of negotiations where, if the price was dead on, I'd say, hey, Dan, you know what? I'm going to do my best. I'm going to present an offer that you're going to submit over. I'll be happy to present the offer. But if you're coming in at 1.1 on some, I'd say don't waste your time in my.
That's the thing. There is no that this is my point is if the initial contact is that, there is no negotiation.
It's
There
not
isn't any.
but I gave you communication saying, hey, Dan, you know what? Don't waste your time.
Yeah. So that
But I
right.
could have
So that
bullshit you, right? Which no one wins, and said, "Oh," and then I come back, and then I sign it back at 1.3 full. Like you wasted 4 hours, couple hours doing the offer, presenting with your client, signing back to me doing the. There's a day. I don't feel like wasting a day on that if it's going nowhere. That's the way I do business.
well,
Not
I'll
for
tell
everyone.
you, I had one listed on St. Vincent and we were listed at 749 and he came in at 650. I told him, well, put it in. He goes, well, we're not willing to go any higher. Well, we got over seven. We went back and forth for 3 weeks and they kept going up and we got over seven.
See, so what I don't understand is then if someone says it's their limit, I'm taking it that it's their limit.
Okay, there's another negotiation thing that drives me crazy.
This
When
is the
I say this is my final number, this is my client's final number, Mark, I mean it. We're not going any higher.
That's it. You're better to get it in front of it. So
Do
you
you
know
know
what?
how many
What
agents though? Like I won't mention his name, but I was in negotiations with an agent. He was with Remax now. He's with Century 21, and I said, "This is
Hold on,
off."
let me do a plug before you go there because I should have did earlier. Anybody likes this information, definitely subscribe to the channel for more information on the Barrie real estate market and Simcoe County area. And top of our descriptions, we have two links. One for home evaluation, give you an honest one. And the second one is for buyers. So if you're looking for a certain price point neighborhood, fill the information and we'll get back to you. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to do that.
Okay, so I send him our final number and I say, this is it. My clients aren't going any higher. Like they're not even approved for any higher, Mark. That's it. That's their number. I get a sign back 2 hours later. And I said, like I explained to you, this is their final, their highest. We're not going any higher. This is their final number. And he goes, Diane, nobody's final number is their final number.
Oh, God. It
I
is a,
said, well, you know this guy really well too. And I said, well, mine is. So I told my client, we're going to sign it back at the same number.
did it get
Now,
done?
yeah,
Well, okay. Then he should have
but I
taken it.
mean, like,
Where's,
don't say it's your final number, Mark, if it isn't.
I agree. I agree.
When it's it, it's it. That's it.
I also think too, there's lots of listing agents out there that are really that their property should get some offers in a certain time frame, and they're saying no, it's worth more, or no, it's that we're really strong on this price, and it's worth more. And there's one property that's still active on the board today, almost 30 days later, at the price point. So I think valuations today are very important.
Well, and you also have to have an agent that knows how to talk to people. Like if they do get an inquiry, like when you inquired about the one and the guy told you, well, it's really worth 1.2 and blah, 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 blah. It stopped you from coming forward.
Stopped. The whole conversation stopped. We never went back. We still look at it, but my clients go, "Why? It's not valuation's too high."
Well, it's not only that it's too high, Mark, your client can't afford that anyway.
No, well, not the
It's
price.
above their limit.
I wouldn't let them pay over. I don't. The valuation's not there. So why would I want to see my client overpay just
Mark,
because?
I've had my clients overpay more than once
Yeah,
in
but
bidding wars where
5 or 10 grand's cool. You're talking 100 grand?
no, I know.
Ain't happening.
Yeah.
No
But
effect.
you know what I mean. Sometimes people, you tell them, listen, this is too much. Like you shouldn't be, I don't care. I want it. I love it. It's my dream house. I'm going to be here for 30 years. You've
Then
had
that's
those clients
fine.
too.
Then that's fine.
Yeah.
So did you have some stuff
Yes.
you wanted to go through and show the viewers on maybe an offer or show some clauses that we should put in or talk
Yes.
about?
So this is a standard offer. Now, the first thing that you do is a confirmation of cooperation, Mark. And um, the confirmation of cooperation is all that is where the heck is it? It should be in here somewhere. All this is between the brokerages, it identifies both brokerages and the percentage the buying agent's going to get. So it's just got the buyer and seller name. It identifies if there's just who's representing who. If you're just buying the seller, or, you're representing the seller, I'm representing the buyer. There's there's no multi representation, and the commission, and everybody signs that, right? That's a standard form. There's no negotiation with that form. There's nothing. That's just the form that has to go with an offer, right?
Correct.
Then you're going to get the agreement of purchase and sale. So this, you obviously have the day, the buyer seller name, the property, the legal description, the frontage and the depth of the property, the price that you're, if I'm the buying agent and I'm putting it to you, this is my opening number, right?
Correct.
So we're going to put in where we want to start. Now, Mark, in general, we don't start at the list price, do we?
Well, that's an easy question to answer, but it's sometimes you do though, depending on what the property. If the agent calls me and goes, "Hey, you know what, Mark? Great, we have 20 showings on it. We have one offer coming in right now. I'll drop you communication that I have it. Then let me know what. Then I'll let you know if we got it, whatever." That happens all the time.
Right. If there's no
Yeah,
other offers and you know that it's priced really close to market, I'm still going to go a little bit lower,
yeah, for sure.
right? If it was 820 and you know it's priced well, it's only been on the market a day or two, you start like at 800 or 790. You start close.
If it's priced well, but here's what I think a lot of people are missing in the agents representing buyers is giving them the information and showing them comparable properties that why we should come in at this price.
Yeah.
This is what's missing today, where we're just looking at it and they're throwing in numbers. I think the buyer needs to be very educated on what the market value is for that house based on comparable sales in that neighborhood.
Yeah. So when I do a listing appointment, I have the comparable solds in my email that I email to myself before I even go there.
Right.
Then I email it to them. If a buying agent ever comes in, I already have them in an email based on this is what we priced it on, and they're sold, it's not listings.
Mhm.
So I already have it already there for when somebody tells me I'm crazy. So
Okay.
you put in your opening number there. The deposit goes upon acceptance. So that means you have to put in the deposit within 24 hours if you come to an agreement that's accepted and it
Mhm.
goes into the brokerage hands. If there's conditions, you get that deposit back, Mark, right? They don't get to keep it if you don't firm the deal.
Cause is protected, right? It's protected. So home inspection doesn't, you're happy with, you have an escape. Financing doesn't come about, you have an escape.
And
It's
you get your,
back.
yeah, and you get it back. That's what I want to explain. Not everybody understands that. The revocability, I wanted to go over that a bit because not everybody understands what that means. So the irrevocability, if I'm the buying agent and I'm sending Mark an offer, this number and everything, all the terms in there are can be accepted. And let me say I'm going to put 9 o'clock tonight, Mark. Okay, which means your client has till 9 o'clock tonight to either sign this back, change the number, change something on it, and send it back to me, accept it, or ignore it. If they ignore it, this deal and this offer is dead,
Mhm.
right?
There is.
So,
There's a big part too. So you submitted the offer, and we're going to say it's 4 o'clock. I get it in my hand. It's 4 o'clock right now, and I got it in my email box. And you give me till 9. What I can do as a listing agent is I can solicit the other showing agents that showed the property. Say, hey, by the way, and it's you have to do this. We have an offer, and it's irrevocable by 9 o'clock. Any interested parties, please submit prior to 9 o'clock.
and
Done.
we have to notify everybody that showed the property.
Correct.
So a lot of times people will put an offer in and all of a sudden there's five more offers and they get mad. Well, that's why. We're not trying to necessarily get a bidding war on you and screw you over. It's automatic that we have to tell them. We have to disclose that there's an offer. And then if somebody else decides to come forward, they do. Like there's no way around that. And the completion date is actually your closing date.
You should go back one more step. So you send me the offer. Okay, no other people have gone through no one else is interested. I do a sign back to the seller till 9 p.m. on the 6th day of May.
Right. So
So
now
go ahead.
Mark would go here. He would cross out the price that I put. He would put a new price because your client isn't accepting that, right?
Okay.
Then you would go down here across this. You would put seller and you would change it to now you're giving me till 9 o'clock the next day.
Right. So now it's in favor of the buyer on the irrevocability side. So
Yes.
me being a listing agent can have 20 showings that day and say, four interested parties wanting to submit an offer. And I could tell you this, but all of a sudden you still control it because you could accept it. It could force you to accept that offer.
Right.
And
So
the fact
when you're,
that you lose it, that it's you sign every time we sign it back and forth, it goes flips to the irrevocability in favor of the buyer, in favor of the seller.
that's right. So right now, I could, as the buyer, I can accept this offer. You can't look at any other offers. You can't do anything. I've accepted your terms. It's over.
Right.
If I don't accept your terms, I change the price again, Mark, and I say, and I send it back to you. And those four people that want to put offers, it's open now. They can now put in offers because I didn't accept your terms. I signed it back, and now you have the advantage of looking at other offers in that time period.
Right.
And if you don't accept mine, and mine's still the best, you can still sign it back. You
What's
know
that
what I
again?
mean? Well,
Say
you
it.
could look at three or four other ones and still decide to keep working with me.
If you sign it back to me, though,
Yeah.
for sure. But now I'm going to tell you, okay, Diane, uh, great. Three of those people that wanted to put off for them, three of them are submitting something. I'm going to keep you updated.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark's got three other offers now, 2 hours later. I'm calling you and saying, hey, by the way, I have three offers now. Do you want to make any changes on your offer?
Yes. Because
It,
now I'm in a bidding war and now,
so there's risk involved in doing the sign backs is where I'm going at times. In this market, you're pretty safe. But if a property is priced for the market today, there is risk of losing it, especially if it shows well. Shows
yes,
well, great presentation, priced properly. There's a lot of buyers out there waiting for those properties to come forward. And when
they
they
are.
come forward, guess what happens? They get attention.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. So, I don't like signing back like that. If I know it's priced properly and my clients like it, we should accept that offer that they sign back because
Well,
now we're giving them time and opening up the gates for more offers. Is it worth a couple $1,000? No, it's not.
you
This
know what the other thing, Mark? How many times do we end up if going back and forth verbally?
we a lot of times, yeah, but I wouldn't be racing to go back verbally with you at all. I wouldn't. If this property is priced fair for the market and shows extremely well, and there's a bank of showings lined up for the next day, and potentially four offers coming in tomorrow, I wouldn't be going back and forth. Sorry, Diane, ain't happening. That'd be me.
Well, I find that instead of signing it back 4 or 5 times, even sometimes after the first sign back, I'd call you and say, okay, Mark, we're 10 grand, we're 15 grand apart. My client's willing to go halfway in the middle. Is your client willing? You call your client, yeah, we are. If they're not,
That works. I think it only works, but on a hot listing and a hot property and it shows well and priced properly, that strategy doesn't
the
work.
thing is, Mark, in this market, none of them are doing that. So, like, usually, instead of going back and forth 5 times, we'll
For sure.
come to a verbal agreement
Mhm.
and
Give it
one person will change the number and the other person accepts. Yeah, if you get this for me, my client will take it.
right. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Why don't we go through some conditions? Because we're spending a lot of time on this. I think maybe we should get to the bread and butter and kind of go through some conditions and just see.
Well, the only thing I was going to add about this is the completion date, the closing date. And I was saying to you this morning, the two big things with negotiations for me is time and money. Some people want a long closing, some people need a short closing because they have nowhere to live. So, the closing date and the money are really the two big sticklers when you get down to it.
Mhm.
The chattels included. Chattels are things that come with the house, the fridge, the stove, the washer, dryer, and they all have to be in good working order. There'll be a clause for that, you'll see. Excluded is anything that's attached that um, somebody wants to take with them, right?
Your light fixture could be a TV mount.
Yep. Rental items, usually a hot water heater is standard. Everybody almost rents that.
Yeah.
Furnaces and ACs also could be rented, but we don't want those, Mark.
Mm-mm.
And there's no HST on a resale. The rest are just standard clauses, right?
Yeah, we won't go through them.
Right. So then we'll go down to the Schedule A. Now, the first clause on every single offer is the buyer agrees to pay the balance of the purchase price, subject to adjustments. And this is that you actually, so if you put a $50,000 deposit, that goes towards the purchase price, right? And then you agree to pay the balance. Well, of course, you agree to pay for the house. So that's the first clause. It's in every single thing. These are the conditions. So the offer is conditional upon the buyer arranging at the buyer's own expense a new first mortgage and home insurance, the inspection of the property by a home inspector, and obtaining a report satisfactory to the buyer in the buyer's sole and absolute discretion. That's a big deal, Mark.
Well, for sure. So you can, if there was a missing a doorstop, okay, you know what? There's my escape. I'm not happy with the report. Doesn't have
Yeah,
to be specific. It can be anything.
it could be anything, and it's in the buyer's sole and absolute discretion. So the seller can't go and say, oh, that's ridiculous,
Correct.
right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, the buyer solicitor approval of the agreement of purchase and sale. Now, we all don't do that all every time. You don't get a lawyer to approve every single deal, do you?
No, but depending on if it's a unique property, I always put in. If it's just a residential one, pretty easy. I'm not putting it in. I'm just
No,
not.
right.
But one thing I think we should be putting in more for sellers today, sorry, buyers, is an appraisal clause
I
because
know.
we're seeing some deals not closing because the valuations are coming in lower. And if
Yes.
anyone's putting above 20%, there has to be an appraised on the property. So
Yes.
you're paying for the appraisal, lender's getting, qualified appraisal to go out and do an appraisal, get the report back in 2 and 3 days. What happens if it comes back lower than the market value? Sorry, not the value on the purchase agreement.
They sometimes would have to pay more money, and if they don't have it, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. So be careful with that today,
Hmm.
because a lot of properties out there that are way overpriced, and some sucker, I'm going to say, will come and give them close to it or whatever, and then the property doesn't appraise. This is a rare case, but it's happening.
It's happening.
So you have to protect that buyer. And if it was me doing that, I'm okay with these conditions for 5 days, 5 days. I'd try to do a 10-day. I know they're not going to love it, the listing agent, but a lot of times that appraisal is not getting done in the first 5 days of this purchase agreement.
Okay, so this is another thing I want to explain. The buyer gives notice in writing to the seller within 5 banking days following date of accepting, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, statutory holidays, that the above conditions have been fulfilled or waived. This offer shall be null and void, and the deposit shall be returned to the buyer in full without deduction. The above conditions are included for the benefit of the buyer, may be waived at the buyer's sole option by notice in writing. Okay. One big thing about this, Mark, is while you're in this 5 day process, and it's 5 business days. So if you get accepted on a Wednesday, it actually will go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week, right?
Mhm.
The seller can do nothing in that time period. He can't look at offers. He can't, like a lot of people say to me, well, Diane, can I still accept another offer or look at offers? And no.
No,
The seller is now at the buyer's mercy. The house is tied up until that buyer firms or walks away.
no.
And the seller represents and worlds, chattels, and fixtures as included in the agreement of purchase and sale will be a good working order, free from all liens and encumbrances on completion. When it says that the parties agree that this representation warranty shall survive and not merge on completion, but only apply to the state of the property at completion. What all of this means, people, is that everything has to be in good working order, your fridge, your stove, your washer, dryer, on the day you move in. If it blows up the day after, you're out of luck.
I want to make a point too that we just put some brief clauses in here. This is not everything that we put in and that's it. It really is property dependent on what goes in that Schedule A.
These have to be in there.
Those are the must-haves, I think, depending. There could be more, but let's just say the basic transactions that are residential and pretty easy. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do,
Yeah. And
right?
and this is all about the brokerage and stuff. Now,
Yeah.
one thing they want two walkthroughs in this one.
Mhm.
Sometimes we'll do more. Another thing that I think is pretty standard now is do you remember when you got messed up on the water softener?
Oh yeah, do I ever?
And do you remember when I got messed up on the rental furnace?
Yep.
So my buyer bought a property, then they call me 2 months later. They're getting a bill from Enbridge to rent the furnace. And I said, the furnace isn't a rental. We only assume the hot water heater. I said, we didn't assume the furnace.
Mhm.
I called the other realtor who's with our office and he goes, Diane, these are good friends of mine. They would have told me if the furnace was a rental. The furnace and AC were both brand new, $120 a month.
Yeah, I know.
So the agent, it was a $10,000 buyout,
Mhm.
and the agent ended up paying 2,000 and the seller paid 8,000 because we didn't assume that rental.
Yeah.
So I put that in a clause now
Yeah, so do I. Yep.
that the seller warrants and guarantees that there are no rental contracts or the furnace or the AC,
Yeah. Yeah. Or other than the hot water tank. Yeah, I do too.
other than the hot water heater.
It's, years ago, they were pretty common. I don't see it too much now, but you still see them. People get sucked into those people going door to door and like you're paying for it 10 times over.
Well,
So,
you had the problem with the water softener.
yeah, that was a little different. Geez, that's over 10 years where it was a rental and it was my problem. Forgot to put it into the listing saying it was a rental item and it was going to be returned. Didn't have to assume it at all. So they come back for the final walkthrough and the agent calls me up and says, "Hey, where's the water softener?" "Oh, that's a rental. I sent that back." "Well, we want it." "Yeah, but also you didn't put it in the agreement of purchase and sale.
You didn't assume it.
She didn't write anything about it." So,
Okay.
okay, you know what? Let's just throw $500 each and we can get them one. Your buyer one's done. I messed up, you messed up. I'm not doing it. Well, guess what happens 18 months later? They
You
make
get
a
paid.
they make a complaint about me misrepresenting the listing. Long story short, Mark has to buy water softener. Done.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you're asking your sellers these important questions.
And
So,
as sellers people, let us know, like, if you have rental, like I've asked and people don't tell you sometimes.
well, I'd be making sure they tell you, or when an offer comes in, hey, they're asking that question could come up, and I'd be really, really enforcing it because look what happens.
Well, that's why when I find
Yes,
if you put it in your conditions under Schedule A, you have to have a conversation about it.
right. It's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you think we could cover off? I think we went through some basic stuff for the viewer, how the process works. Every situation is different, let's be honest.
Yep.
Do I have agents that I hate working with? Damn right I do. And then I have agents that I love working with. The deals go smooth. Strong relationships are important with others.
I think it's very important. I've been in multiple offer situations where the agent said, Diane, I'd rather work with you than the other person, so
Right.
I'll work with your offer. They don't trust the other person.
Yeah, or just, they're difficult.
They're
You
pushy, they're rude.
just, no one wants that. So, sometimes, I can be pushy at times with certain things if I think the valuations are off. But now I just get out in front of it now and just say, hey, where's this going? Instead of getting, you know what I mean? Getting fighting with people or arguing with people on that. That's valuation you picked, and that's great, but we're just going to move on. So, but
Well, and I think that's a change in the last 2 years where now, like in the past, I would never call an agent and say, listen, like, what are you guys thinking? Or where are you guys at? I would just get an offer ready. I'd call them. Now, in the last 2 years, it's pretty common for agents to call you if you're the listing agent, or if you're the buyer, to call them and say, like, what are you guys thinking?
yeah, there's so many new people in the industry, and I really believe that people should pick them wisely. You better know who you're working with today, both on
Yeah.
the buying side or the selling side. You better have that. You better have a good relationship. Not that, oh, what's your commission? Will you cut it? Because the door knocking guy came by and he said he'd do it for 1%. You want to go with the 1% guy, go with him. Do you know him? No, I don't know anything about him. And why would you put yourself in that position? Right?
I don't know. It kills me in a way because it's the largest investment most people have.
Pay for what you get today. Big on that.
I
Right?
know some that do well, there's one guy in Barrie and he's actually like he's very good.
He's great. He's great. And it's Parker. He's good. There's no problem.
Yeah.
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 But but where I'm going is that some of these people just almost do it for nothing, but they're could be destined for sales. They have no experience. A transaction and negotiation can get complicated at times,
Well, it's
right? And
a
that
lot at
relationship
times.
that we have with other realtors is to our benefit because we
Yes.
do business with them.
Yeah.
Transactions have closed. Transactions of negotiations have gone smoothly. Everybody likes a smooth negotiations. I'm no different, right? We've
Yeah.
been, we've been on both sides of the fence where you just can't wait till the deal to get done. And I'm in one right now that's a goddamn disaster, and I can't get any information. I'm going, this is the worst experience I've ever had with an agent out of 15 years. That
Well,
was,
the one that I sold in Innisfil on Benson 3 or 4 years ago, Mark, we were getting offers, signing back, and then never hearing again.
yeah,
4 times that happened, 4 different agents. We sign back and then they're gone. They're not answering me. They're not
yeah,
replying to anything. My client's like, Diane, what's going on? I'm like, listen, I don't even know what to tell you. Like,
yeah,
never had that happen before.
yeah,
I'm 4 times.
yeah. I know. Anyway,
Toronto guys, but I mean, I don't understand. If you put an offer and you spent your time, why wouldn't you answer me at least? Say, okay, listen, my client's not interested.
something, but
Something.
pick your agent wisely, pick a couple, interview them, go through the motion.
Yep.
Bottom line. And Again, I'm a big believer in working with agents in the local communities because they know the areas. They know
Yeah.
the community. They know what's going on. How many times we go, oh God, oh, my house is backing on land, on green space. All of a sudden, 4 years from now, there's a public notice saying we're putting a residential 5,000 homes. Meanwhile, that buyer thought it was green space. We'd know what's going on.
Yeah.
We make one phone call, whatever. We could figure that out. A lot of people don't do that.
No, they're doing that on Winchester right now, right? There's that huge subdivision off Mapleview right behind them.
But even 10 years ago, we knew something was, and I showed them,
Yeah, yeah,
this isn't going to be, this is farmland now. It's going to be residential.
yeah,
Trust me.
yeah,
So you can enjoy the time now, but it is you're going to have neighbors. Just can't tell you when.
yeah.
Right. So anyway, okay. See ya.
See ya.